Hello, hello. Welcome everyone. So good to see you this week, and I am feeling 99.9% better. Welcome to Wealth and Wines, a real estate experience. I am Gersha Porter, the CEO of Porter Premier Homes of Cummings and Company Realtors here in the Baltimore metropolitan area. And we aim to eliminate confusion for buyers by giving them key strategies to unlock resources to purchase their dream home. Thanks so much for joining us today here. If you're on Facebook Live, please do give StreamYard permission to access your account so I can see your comments. If you're joining us on YouTube, please drop your comments below. And if you're here in our private Own Again group, I look forward to responding to any of the questions that you may have. So welcome again. Today is Wednesday, October 28th. And can you believe the month is almost over? But we have had a robust real estate market going on here in our area. We are so blessed to be essential that we could still work in the midst of a pandemic. And I'm going to say it now before I get to my wine. Please vote. We have early voting going on here in our state. So if you were able to mail your ballots ahead of time, please do. If you can go drop it off, do that as well. And if you have a chance to get out before next Tuesday for early voting, please do. So that is my social justice plug. I really want to make sure that we all get a chance to cast our ballot this year. So, what do you have in your glass? What do you have in your glass? As you can see, I have a red this week. Reds are actually my favorite. So this is a red. I'm going to show you what we are featuring this week. We are featuring a red blend. Gotta figure this out. It is called Lyeth, Lyeth. It is from the Boisset collection, and I am going to get that on the screen for you. I'm doing something a teeny bit different this time. So let's see. Give you some background. This is a 2018 red blend. As you can see, this is probably one of my fave bottles because it does have a house on it. This is a red blend, and it actually features some Malbec, some Cabernet Sauvignon, some Petit Verdot, and some Cabernet Franc. All of those different grapes make up this amazing red blend. And it was aged in 100% French oak for about 16 months. And when you smell it, you may smell some figs. If you have a glass and it may not be this particular red blend, take a moment to just enjoy the aroma. Yes. So part of tasting wine is to see it. And the other part then is the second step is to smell it. So I'm enjoying that. And we're just going to go ahead and skip to the sip part. So take a sip while you're there. So if you have a glass of wine, join us today as we just learn a little bit more about Lyeth. And you can find all those details on my website. And I'm going to drop it in the chat. wealthandwines.com. And for those of you who are interested in learning more about wine, tasting wine, enjoying wine, and just being educated about the whole experience, I am actually hosting a wine tasting. It's virtual with 3 of my other wine ambassador colleagues, and that's coming up on November the 13th. So if you'd love some information, the event is actually posted on my Facebook page. It's also out there on Eventbrite, and it is called Friendsgiving. and we are looking forward to kicking off November with a Friendsgiving virtual wine tasting, and I think you'll have a great time. So if you have an opportunity, please do come on out from the comfort of your own home with one or two of your own friends and sample 2 to 3 bottles with us. So we look forward to that. So right now I am going to move on into our topic for today, and that is how to avoid buying a lemon property. So lots of folks have heard about lemon cars or lemon automobiles. And yes, there are homes that you've heard it called the money pit sometimes, that you purchase them and there's just problem after problem. And what I hope to empower you with today are things that you can look for to prevent or to avoid from buying a lemon property. So, first thing you're going to do is you are going to look for flaws. And I'm going to point out a few of them, and I have some words and I have some pictures, and I want you to participate as well. So drop any questions that you may have in the chat. Participate with me in the chat as I ask questions. If you have some answers, just let me know what you think about some of these topics as well. And if you recall last week, we were talking about home inspectors and how they help you through the process. But this is what you and I will do as we walk through properties and we use our own eyes to get a sense of what's going on. So the first flaw we're going to look for are cracks in the foundation or cracks in the corner of rooms. So depending on the age of the property, some properties actually have plaster versus drywall. And plaster does crack. So if you're looking at a house that was built in the 1800s or early 1900s, the walls are probably made of plaster and not drywall. So you may see cracks in those walls. But what we're going to look for is a picture like I have right now. That's actually the outside of the home. Sometimes as you walk around the exterior, you're going to see cracks in the foundation. Little cracks, which we call settlement cracks, happen over time, but significant cracks are what we're going to look for, and we're going to make a note of it. And what I love about real estate today and looking for homes is we all have, usually with us, a cell phone, and that cell phone has a camera on it. So take a picture so that when you get back with your loved one, your partner, whoever is working with you throughout your real estate process, they're going to be able to say, hey, remember that thing? Well, you're not going to remember everything, but if you have a picture or if you took a short video of it, you're going to be able to reference it. So look for cracks in the foundation or in corners of rooms when we are inside the actual property. The next thing that you want to be aware of is to look for erosion in the yard. What would it look like? It would look like this is the yard and then there's a big dip. It looks crumbly. The soil will look pretty crumbly. And it could travel a feet or two, or it could just be a big kind of what we call a sinkhole. So you want to look for that. And we don't know what's the cause of it at all. But that's what the inspector is going to help you with, or it may tell you right away if this is a house that you're going to make an offer on, that you might want a second level or a higher level of an inspection. But I'll tell you, the first thing we actually want to do is we want to ask the seller, okay? So if this is the home for you and you're not off because of a flaw that you saw in the backyard, some erosion, let's ask the question. Let's ask the question of the seller. They may actually know what's been going on. It could have been something happening in the neighborhood, some construction, some repairs. The city, the county might be responsible for it. So let's just check it out a little bit further. So you want to look for erosion in the yard, and that will help you understand whether or not there is something to look into further. Now this one about bad smells, and it's interesting. I was touring on this past Sunday with some buyers of mine, and we walked into the home and you just smelled amazing cookies. So there was a candle, and clearly they had a home inspection the day before, and the smell was still lingering, and it was amazing. Now, There are bad smells when you go into properties, and you hopefully will say, wait a minute, what is that? Now, we all have different levels of smelling sensation and heightened sensitivity to smells, and some folks smell nothing at all. So it's always great if you're not shopping by yourself and you have a responsible or a partner who's with you, who's going to give you their opinion. You want to know, do you smell that? And then you may say to me, do you smell that, Gersha? And I might say, yeah. Sometimes you may be smelling cat urine. You might be smelling remnants of somebody who has a dog in their property or had a dog. A lot of time those bodily secretions sink into carpet. Sometimes they sink into hardwood, and it's really hard to get out. But the smells that we're usually questioning is if you were to go into, let's say, the basement, and all of a sudden you really see a difference between the smell that was in the property above on the first or the second floor, or the property that is, I'm sorry, the part of the property when you enter into the lower level of the basement. And the deal is, there are things that will give off an odor. So if there is stagnant water, you might smell that. If there is mold, you might smell that. So look out for bad smells and make a note so we can try to dig a little deeper to find out what is actually going on. Okay, that is a nice piece that you want to look for. You also want to look for rotting or rusting anywhere. So most homes, there's a general maintenance is what we call it, or deferred general maintenance. Some homeowners don't understand that you need to paint. You need to paint probably every year, every other year, because water is going to hit the wood that is around your doorpost, that is around your garage, that may be around the actual porch. So if you don't paint, you will get some rotted wood. And that's why you have to have a handyman. That's why you need to be a little handy maybe yourself, because painting will prevent a lot of the rotting. Paint actually protects wood, the correct type of paint. If you see rusting anywhere, if there are metal handrails going out of a property, if there are metal decorations on the awnings of the porch, you may begin to see some rusting. And rusting does happen over time. It's usually not just because it rained for 2 weeks. So you want to look out for rotting or rusting so we can dig deeper into what may actually be going on. So that is another flaw that you definitely want to have your eyes out for. The next piece that you want to look for is standing water where it shouldn't be. So if you are touring a property and they have a pond, absolutely there should be some water there. But if you walk out into the backyard and there is just water standing in the grass, that means that the water isn't either draining properly, it's accumulating and staying in one particular area. It's not sinking into the earth as it typically would be. So we want to think about whether or not the water that you see is because we just had 5 days of rain or like torrential rain. Or is there a problem? You may look to the neighbor to the left, to the right. You don't see any water in their yard, so you're wondering what's going on. So please do look for standing water. And I see I have a couple of comments. I'm not sure who it is because StreamYard did not get access to your account, but I do see a comment about dampness and deferred maintenance. Yes, paint the metal against the rust. So what we want to do is be aware as well of any kind of standing water. Another flaw that we want to look and be aware of is mold or water damage on the ceiling. So right now, as we tour homes and you go through a property with me as your realtor, we're going to look at all the walls. We're going to look at the ceiling. We're going to look at the floor. We're going to look left. We're going to look right, whether there's furniture in the property or not. And typically, wherever there is a bathroom above, If there had been any previous water damage, you oftentimes can see the repair work. Now, it doesn't mean that there's an active leak. It just means that at some point there was one. And if you've ever had a property, even if you've been renting a property, you know that when you have pipes, there's an opportunity for leaks. So the same thing happens as you're out there looking at properties. Now, water and warm weather equals mold. Okay, so in the summertime, we oftentimes will see more mold than we would in the winter because cold weather kind of stops the growth of mold. So you do want to look around for any water damage on the ceilings. When you get down to the lower level, we have a lot of basements that are finished, so sometimes you can't actually see the floorboards from above. And above is normally where the kitchen is. And if there's a powder room above, you're going to see that as well. So the flaw you want to look out for is mold or water damage on the ceiling. And this picture is cute because absolutely water is flowing down and she's holding on to a pot to catch the water. And what we want to do is prevent this from happening to you as a new homeowner. Okay. All right. So electrical work. These are going to be our top 3 things that you definitely want to consider. Electrical work is really a big deal. If you see a picture like the one that I have here on this slide, you really want to beware that something isn't quite right with the electrical in the property. We should never see exposed wires. When we go into properties, I'm always turning the lights on so you can have a better view of the property. If the lights are flickering, it could be that the bulb is about to go out, but it could also mean that there is an electrical or a wiring problem. So that's a red flag that maybe more work can be done. I went into a property probably 3 weeks ago with some clients of mine, and it was around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, a bright sunny day. And we went in, there was turn on the light, the next light, the next light, nothing was turning on. Well, I was able to conclude that there was no electricity in the property. Every now and then that is the case, and the seller usually makes you aware of that, meaning the agent usually makes you aware of that, but we weren't aware. So we're walking around on the first level, there was plenty of light, but as you begin to go downstairs, we have to pull out our phones. So I don't know if there was an electrical problem. I did send a message to the agent to let them know that there was no power in the house the day we went through. So normally there's going to be power. So when you do turn the lights on, if it flickers, if you see an exposed wiring like this is really a big flag. There may be more work that needs to be done. So electrical is your number one that you want to consider before you buy a house that is a lemon. Okay. All right. Number 2 is leaky faucets. Leaky faucets. So if the water system isn't working well, it could be a number of reasons why. So you do want to have the inspector check the sinks, the tubs, the toilets, the shower for any faucets that might be leaking. Now, before you actually submit your contract and it's accepted and then you have a home inspection, you're able to visually see that as we walk through the property. You're going to realize whether or not the faucet is dripping. I always caution my buyers, please don't turn on the sinks. Please don't turn on the showers as we're walking through a tour of a property because you just don't know if there is a plumbing issue. But when you do start to see that, that's something you want to make a note of and make sure that the inspector is thoroughly checking out the plumbing so that as you move forward, you are quite comfortable that the house that you're buying is not a lemon. Okay, and this slide talked a little bit about water pressure, and water pressure will be determined when you have your home inspection because the inspector will actually turn it on and they will make an assessment about the pressure, whether it's in the sink or the shower or the tub. Okay, so that is number 2. And the third piece that we want to talk about or we want to be aware of, number 3, is mold. And I briefly mentioned it. And what you're going to see right here is a picture of actually a baseboard. So if you've been in the basement of properties, the drywall is finished and sometimes there's actually wood for the baseboard, or it could be a kind of a vinyl that's actually taped along the bottom where the wall meets the floor. And if it's peeled back like this, now we don't peel it back. Okay, realtors don't peel it back and buyers don't peel it back, and neither do inspectors. But if it's beginning to peel back, they'll have an opportunity to see what's underneath it, and that's what this picture is showing you. So it is a big and expensive problem, and it could be very dangerous when there's mold in the property. Those of you who suffer from allergies probably have a heightened sense of smell from mold in a property, and a heightened awareness that if you are in a room or in a building or in a home that has mold, that is absolutely not going to be fare well for you with respect to your health. So mold is really important. And I'll just add, when we were talking about home inspections before, I talked about structural and mechanical inspections, but there's also the mold inspection. And I have had clients over the years, because of their severe allergies to mold, they schedule the mold inspection right away because they wanted to determine if there was a heightened level of mold in the particular property. So if you have health concerns, you want to make sure that a mold inspection is one of the things that you schedule to happen when your structural and mechanical inspection is going to happen as well. And as you walk through the property, it doesn't mean you won't buy it because you've seen some evidence of mold. It just means that you want to dig deeper, ask questions. If you do move forward to make an offer on the property and purchase it, you want to make sure that when your inspector comes through, that they're taking a close look at the baseboards, at any evidence. Sometimes you might see spots of mold even in the ceiling. Another place, anybody knows where we usually see mold? I'll look in the comments. A place in a home that you see mold more often than anywhere else, more often than the basement, would be which room of the house? Just drop it in the chat while I take a sip of my, I'm gonna get over here, life. There it is. Where might you actually see mold in a home? Especially if your exhaust fan isn't working. That's right. I'm not sure who wrote that. I put it on the screen. See, it says Facebook user because you didn't give StreamYard permission to access your profile. But your answer is absolutely correct. The bathroom. So as you're touring a property, you may take a closer look and you might see some evidence of mold in the bathroom, and that's because it's not vented well enough. Either the exhaust isn't working well, or the owners weren't turning on the vent as they were taking showers in running water, and the humidity was so very heavy that in the bathroom we oftentimes might find mold. So electricity was number one. We talked about mold as another big piece that we want to pay a lot of attention. Thanks, Dawn. That bathroom is the place that we want to make sure that we're paying very close attention to. All righty, so I am hoping that based on the information we got today, you now know what you want to look for so that you are not purchasing a property that would be a lemon, okay? So, give me 1 second. I am trying my best to go to the next slide. Alrighty. So your question is, how would a good agent help you with this? How might a good agent help you with this? So a good agent will be able to have their eye open while you are touring the property. So people think it's funny, and I am very, and this comes with experience. When I'm out touring properties with my buyers, you won't find me answering the phone. You won't find me responding to emails. You won't find me distracted. And I pride myself in that. There was a period of time in my life when I was caring for my dad, and I let my clients know up front. If I get a call from a particular number, I'm going to have to get that call. Outside of that, I give my undivided attention to my clients as we're touring through the property, so that if they're not seeing something, I'm going to see it and I'm going to put it out to them, because information is what they need. They haven't done this before. It's been 5 or 10 years since they purchased a home. So these are the types of things that as a realtor, I'm going to be able to help you through the process. Another thing, how would a good agent help you? We'll know about some amazing home inspectors who are going to be very much in tune with the pieces that are important in a home inspection, structural and mechanical, to prevent you from purchasing a home that is a lemon. Another way that a good agent such as myself will be able to help you is once that report comes back and you've already had a discussion with the home inspector about what they found, if there's some large items like electrical or plumbing or mold, we're going to make sure that when the seller addresses those issues for us, that they are, all of that work is done by licensed contractors, that the electrician who addressed the issue is licensed, that the plumber who addressed the issue is licensed, that the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning technician who addressed the issue in the HVAC unit, that they are licensed too. As a great agent, before we consider those receipts acceptable, we checked on the DLLR, the Department of Labor and Licensing and Regulation here in Maryland. We checked to make sure that that contractor is licensed and that their license is active. Those are the types of things that a great agent will do for you. We don't just give you the receipt and say, hey, here's a receipt from the seller. The work was done. Go ahead and let's settle on this home. I have had settlements delayed because one, we either didn't have the documentation that the work was done or the documentation wasn't acceptable. One of my buyers this year, the seller provided a receipt and the contractor that did the work was in Virginia. Do you think that was acceptable? In the state of Maryland, all work on Maryland properties must be done by a MHIC licensed contractor. The M stands for Maryland Home Improvement Contractor. So we can't accept receipts from work that was done from contractors who are not licensed in the state of Maryland. So those are just some of the reasons why you want to work with a great agent like me to make sure that you are not purchasing a lemon. Okay? So I am now going to just wrap this up for us this afternoon. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. As always, you could schedule a house call with me, a home ownership, understanding steps and expectation call. I just had one a little earlier today where there was a young lady who recently moved back in with her mom after being separated for a couple of years, saving money, and she wanted some advice on what to do next to be prepared to purchase a home. And I'm so happy to be able to give her some advice and some help. But if you have any questions, you can actually schedule a house call with me so that you can get the answers to any of the questions that you may have about purchasing a home in this time of COVID or selling your property during this time. So at this point, if you have any questions, just jot them in the chat. If you can't think of them right now, I'm going to go back to the live broadcast on all of the different venues that it may appear right now, and I will make sure to respond to 443-744-0206 if you have a question, or you can message me on any of the social media that you find us here. So thank you again for hopping on. I just want to remind you, if you haven't, please do like our Facebook page, Porter Premier Homes. Follow me on Instagram at Gersha Porter. Connect with me on LinkedIn at Gersha Porter. And I am still very active in the 1,000 Black Families Challenge, where we are working hard to get underrepresented minority families into homes who may have challenging credit scores. We're working with them closely to put them through our purchasing program so that they too can purchase a home. So if you know anybody who fits that bill, let me know. I'd be happy to talk to them some more. And I'm going to end by saying cheers. Have a great rest of the evening. Bye-bye.